So this video is going to be one of those videos that actually puts together a bunch of leaks into one larger leak video, because I didn't feel like any individual leak in this video really would be long enough to warrant release by itself. And also, I just wanted to get them all out right away instead of waiting week to week and possibly being scooped on some of the information that I have. And you know, all of the leaks today, although they look quite different from each other, all involve Intel. And the way I've written this script, I actually think they're going to flow into each other fairly smoothly. So yeah, I think it'll work, and I think we should get started. And the first leak I actually want to start with today is the most upbeat and happy one. Let's start off on a good note here. And it's about the i7-14700K, the flagship i7 below the i9 that will be launching later this year in the new 14th gen Intel lineup, and it's going from 8 big cores and 8 little cores with the existing i7 to 8 big cores and 12 little cores, bringing the total to 20 cores and 28 threads. And a couple of sources actually told me that this was happening this week, and then one source actually got me a slide from a slide deck that proves it. And so indeed, if you look right here, you can see that this is technically for the mobility lineup, but it should correspond to the desktop one as well. The i7 is going to top out at either 8 little cores or 12 little cores. And I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm pretty sure what this is suggesting is that the i7 14700K will have 8 big cores and 12 little cores, and maybe some of the non-K models will still just have 8 little cores. I actually think that'd work out fine. But with regards to the top i7, the 14700K, keep in mind that this thing's actually going to be a decent beast when you consider the other things that I've already leaked about it earlier this week, that it's going to have 4 to 15% higher clock speeds at the same power consumption with the new DLVR enhancements that have come to Raptor Lake Refresh. What that means is, with the core count bump and these clock speed bumps, I think the 14700K will have single threading performance that's close to the existing 13900K i9, and its multi-threading performance will probably be a solid 15 to 20% better than AMD's R9 7900X. Heck, depending on how they bin this chip, because I don't think there's going to be a KS model, meaning they may give better yields to the i9K and the i7K. Depending on how they bin the i7, I could actually see this being almost just directly up there with a 13900KS at certain tasks, while probably still losing a bit in multi-threading no matter what. And as long as this thing comes in at $450 or less, I think it's going to be a complete beast for creators. Although I do have to say that I am not entirely sure this thing is going to be without a doubt, a slam dunk, right? If I look around online right now, I understand that the 7900X from AMD wasn't that desirable when it launched for $550, and frankly, I didn't think it was a very good product at that price. Well, to this day, though, you can usually find it for less money. A lot less, actually. And yes, the i7 website to website is usually like 5% cheaper, but there have been sales that I've pointed out on Twitter that have placed the 7900X well below where the i7 currently is, coming with free RAM. And when I talk to people at Micro Center, they've been tipped off by AMD that if they need to, they will go down to that price in the future as well. And, well, in addition, we have to consider that boosting single threading performance on the i7 by 4 to 8%, that's not going to make it match the 7800X3D in gaming. Maybe they could push it to just barely tie it, but then it's tying it while using double the energy while gaming. And so no matter how you dice it, I think the i7-14700K is going to be a worthy upgrade over its predecessor from Intel, but I'm not seeing it as a skull-crushing moment against AMD. I think that we are already seeing the 7800X3D drop in price a bit, and by the time the holiday season rolls around, by the time Raptor Lake Refresh is launching, it's entirely plausible that the 7800X3D that will have the same gaming performance, a lower power consumption, could be $400 or even $350, and that the 7900X will probably be priced the same as well, meaning that while the 14700K will be better multi-threading than both, it's probably only going to be 20% better than the 7900X, while costing 20% more and not beating the 20% cheaper 7800X3D in gaming. That doesn't mean it's a worse product than those two AMD offerings I just brought up. That just means that those two products will be able to justify their existence, assuming AMD just keeps some permanent price drop around there that it sounds like they're willing to do. But let's remember, those AMD CPUs that really are alternative options, not clearly better options than this i7 I'm describing, they wouldn't be at that price unless Intel was bringing more competition. And so no matter how you dice it, even if I don't think it will be a complete slam dunk for Intel, it's going to be an improvement in what they're offering now, and it's going to bring competition to the market, and, well, that's always a good thing. But you know what's also a good thing? Me telling you an ad from Micro Center. Micro Center is opening up a new store in Charlotte, North Carolina now. The second new store in 8 years, bringing the total to 26 nationwide. By signing up and visiting the new Charlotte store, you can receive a 128GB flash drive for free. You do need to go there to get the flash drive physically, but if you are in the area and you just happen to pop by, you don't even need to be a new customer. You can have been someone who's shopped at Micro Centers for years, just happens to be in Charlotte. You show up, you'll get a free flash drive. But if you are a new customer, you can also get $25 off all CPUs, including the ridiculously priced i7s and R9s I'm describing right now. And they're doing some insane bundles on the AMD CPUs that I'm supposed to mention to you in this ad as well. In addition to, of course, carrying that R5 5600X3D exclusively right now as well, only at Micro Center. Check out these new deals. They all stack on top of each other in the links in the description. And remember, you're helping Moore's Law is Dead if you use these deals listed in the description, and you're helping this channel even if you just click on them as well. Support Moore's Law is Dead by clicking on those links and checking out Micro Center today. All right, now that I have talked about the i7-14700K, I actually want to move on and talk about a different CPU and really a different architecture, Meteor Lake. And I actually have to start this leak out by reminding everybody watching that eventually in 2021, it wasn't just rumors from me. Intel, in July of 2021, publicly stated that they plan for Meteor Lake to go up to 192 execution units. This has to be pointed out because it's not just like I'm saying, oh, something changed because I heard something new. No, Intel eventually confirmed publicly they intended to use 192 execution units with Meteor Lake. And so when I, in my recent leaks, say it's now 128 execution units, I'm saying this before they publicly confirm it. But if they publicly do, I actually think they're also going to confirm a lot of other things have changed as well from what the early Meteor Lake leaks suggested. And I realized and started digging into what might have changed after thinking about some old slides I had and how funny they were actually. And I actually want to put one of them up here right now. So today, besides this slide, everything is from the past few months. But this one here, this one's from 2021. In early 2021, you can see that Intel thought Alchemist was going to be a enthusiast 4K gaming card that launches in 2022, which remember, they thought it was going to beat the 3070 originally, and then that Battlemage would launch in 2023, so basically now, and that it was going to compete with the most recent 4K gaming enthusiast chips as well, probably thinking it would be some sort of 4080 competitor. Well, yeah, also Meteor Lake is there right next to Battlemage. But think about it. Alchemist did not turn out some 4K enthusiast card, and Battlemage isn't out right now, and it's probably not going to be competing with the best 4K gaming cards from AMD and NVIDIA. So why would we assume that Meteor Lake hasn't changed more than just the execution count as well? After all, really think about this. In 2021, they thought Battlemage would be ready by now, but it's not. So why would we assume Meteor Lake still uses Battlemage? And so then this week I started digging and making calls, and I actually was sent by one of my best sources this slide that I'm putting on screen right now. As you can see, it clearly states that Meteor Lake is going to have 33% more execution units than its predecessor, Raptor Lake, which goes up to 96, meaning 128 execution units. So now I'm not just reporting on a leak slide what's happening. I have an actual Intel slide here today showing 128 execution units. And yeah, I'm aware that I rewrote over a black bar across that slide. That black bar is there to hide something to protect one of my sources. But I did reach out and try to get someone with an unwatermarked version of the slide to at least give me a snip of it. And this person came through. And as you can see, I'm at least going to show this zoomed in part of this other slide. So you know this is double corroborated, and it is 33% more than the previous generation. Again, 128 execution units. And now, going back to the main slide, notice nothing here mentions Battlemage. But you know, something is interesting here. If you look at the slices on most of the Alchemist slides, the vector engine organization looks a bit different. Almost like there's double the vector engines per execution units here. I'm not 100% sure that's what this is denoting, but I have to say, it also says dual render slice scalability. So this is when I started to go, well, wait a second here. I'm not seeing anything mention Battlemage, but it does look like this is definitely a enhanced architecture over the standard Alchemist products we've been seeing so far. And then one of my sources came through for me and just came out and confirmed it, saying that the current GPU architecture that is going to be used in this edition of Meteor Lake, not the old canceled one, is listed as using a next-gen architecture derived from DG2. That's a direct quote of what one document that's recent calls it. And so basically, it's between Alchemist and Battlemage. In fact, it reminds me of what I recently leaked about Strix APUs from AMD. They're not using RDNA 3, they're not using RDNA 4, they're using RDNA 3.5. And so, yeah, I think what Meteor Lake is using then will possibly be referred to as Alchemist Plus, but it seems like a notable enhancement over Alchemist, something that uses far less energy and brings a per execution unit performance boost. And so, yeah, look, Meteor Lake's not getting 192 execution units of Battlemage. That's disappointing, but at least today I can report it's 128 execution units. They're better than what's in their desktop Alchemist cards right now. And in fact, then this entirely lines up with the performance I've been leaking and hearing about Meteor Lake as well. I think that AMD has internally, with one of those slides I've leaked before, been assuming that it's using some old Alchemist architecture. It's not. It's using Alchemist Plus, and that's why I think that AMD slide was wrong, and my Intel sources tell me this is like 1650 Ti performance, which should place it like 10 to 20% better than Phoenix. Well, 10 to 20% better than Phoenix when the graphics drivers actually work. We're just going to have to see if Meteor Lake's drivers finally work in a way that recent Intel graphics releases haven't worked. But yeah, speaking of Intel graphics releases, we should move on to the final leak of the day, and this time it's about Battlemage. I'm not going to waste any time here. I'm just going to throw this Battlemage update on screen right now. So, Intel Battlemage update from July 2023, and I'm just kind of recapping here. Originally, Battlemage planned to go for the crown in 2023, but as reported numerous times by this channel, it's having tons of issues to the point that even as of this day, its future is very uncertain. I would say, and I asked multiple sources about this week, the best case scenario is a late Q2 2024 launch, hence why it wasn't ready to go into Meteor Lake, and even the second half of next year seems much more likely than the first half. Currently, Battlemage actually plans to use PCIe 5.0 and utilize GDDR6X, but it is worth noting, as I've actually shown in a slide today, that the original design planned for GDDR6. So it could change again. It was GDDR6. Now it's listed on some documents I've seen this week as GDDR6X. I think it's totally plausible Intel may use GDDR7 for Battlemage if it comes out, which on that note, let me get to the rest of this leak. So yeah, initially Battlemage planned to have a full lineup with many different die configs competing with NVIDIA at all levels and all segments. But as I leaked earlier this year and as I'm basically reconfirming now, the remaining TSMC 4nm configurations, and I am still told it's 4nm by the way, are as follows. G10 is the top die that really has been kind of nerfed into oblivion. This used to be intended as a flagship competitor, but now it actually has a smaller die size than the A770 and has less execution units as well, with a 256-bit bus and 16 gigabytes of RAM. Then G21 is, I've already leaked this, a 253mm squared, 320 execution unit, 192-bit, 12 gigabyte card, and there's a cut down model that's been listed with 256 execution units and a 128-bit bus as well. But when you look at these configurations, I have to say, these things have been nerfed multiple times. G10 used to be a bigger die with more execution units, and many sources continue to believe this will be canceled. In fact, as of earlier this year, basically all my sources said it had been canceled, but it kind of remains at a 50-50 chance of coming out. But if it does come out, it's no longer some 4080 killer. It's probably going to be a mid-range competitor at best. And so there you go. That is my latest update on Battlemage. And, well, this is usually where the trolls jump in and say, but you said it's canceled. What are you talking about? And I just always have to remind people, when I do an ARC update this year, I said that ARC is effectively canceled, and you need to go watch those videos from late last year and listen carefully, because what I said was actually quite nuanced, and overall said that the future of ARC for the next few years is going to be incredibly messy, and it has been. Look, we know that Intel's initial goals have not been met, and we also know that recently Intel has stopped selling the reference model of the A770, which is crazy. Yeah, I understand AIBs are still selling the A770, but AMD and NVIDIA typically sell their reference coolers for longer than 8 months. Even their limited edition models tend to stay on sale for at least a year. Not for Intel. They've already cut ties trying to carry this product nobody wants. And meanwhile, and this is a new quote I need to put on screen here, Intel's partners tell me that they don't believe any ARC products besides Meteor Lake is coming out till 2025. They're aware of Intel's roadmaps, but they say that at this point in the Alchemist pre-release, like a year before launch, they knew a ton of information and were actually planning to support an actual product with specs that were confirmed. But right now, no matter what Intel says, Battlemage doesn't seem anywhere near ready, and every AIB and OEM I talk to right now seriously doubts Battlemage is going to come out next year, if it even comes out at all. And then also keep this in consideration with the other things I've leaked today. Meteor Lake's GPU tile no longer uses Battlemage, and it sounds like multiple versions of Battlemage continue to be canceled. There may just be one die that's barely launching at the end of next year, and so it just doesn't to me seem like I have to change anything of what I've said about ARC's future. To me, it's effectively canceled. Intel's discontinuing products. They're not showing any signs of launching new ones. Where's the A580? Guys, where is the A580? And all of Intel's partners don't think Battlemage will be ready for at least a year. So for all intents and purposes, ARC is AFK for the foreseeable future. And honestly, when I look at what's happening to the pricing of NVIDIA and AMD graphics cards right now, I just have to go, why on earth would Intel want to compete in this market for the next at least a year? It just seems like a bad business decision. And Intel's financials right now are not in a place where they can afford to make any bad business decisions. And that's why I think the best we should really be hoping for, although maybe it'll be a bit better than this, is that Intel launches like one die every year and a half to keep driver support getting better until they have the money and the market improves by like 2026 to kind of reboot ARC. But if they do, I think they should use a new name besides ARC, because I think that name's just been ruined. Again, when I talk to OEMs, they don't believe anything Intel says about ARC anymore. It might be a good idea to come out with a new brand name. But yeah, I guess that's just about going to do it for this video. I leaked i7-14700K specs and performance. I leaked Meteor Lake integrated graphics specs. Alchemist Plus sounds exciting. And I gave you guys an update on Battlemage. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you're subscribed to the Moore's Law is Dead YouTube channel. It says half of you aren't. It really helps us if you actually subscribe, and then ring that bell button so you are notified when my videos come out. And then, of course, if you have the extra money, consider supporting Moore's Law is Dead on Patreon. We just had a new die shrink come out about what it means to be anti-competitive. It's a over 1 hour video discussion that only patrons get access to. And you also get Broken Silicon early and ad-free, the ability to ask guests, me and Dan, questions, and access to a Discord. Tons of content there just for $2 a month if you can spare that every month. But otherwise, no matter what, thank you for watching.